Um, so we're talking about racing today, namely my involvement and how I got into it. Sitting next to my race bike here, one of them got a couple repairs done for this weekend's event. Re-welded up a cracked frame that happened at last event. Going to keep those bolts on there for now because this is all a temporary fix until we can rubber mount the motor. Also welded up the gas tank, which is drying out outside, and we should be good to go for this weekend. Um, so I discovered vintage motorcycle racing completely by accident. When I was 21 years old, I was in New York City and I was looking for a desk job. And I wandered I answered an ad in the Village Voice for a office assistant who must know motorcycles. And long story short, I ended up at Team Obsolete, which is a vintage racing collection and club, and actually people who really began and pushed the national historic racing scene in the United States. They collect and race Grand Prix bikes only, not things that had anything to do with the street. Factory bikes, and back in the day they would put old riders, retired riders, back on their bikes, do demonstration events as well as actual racing and stuff. So I worked for them, and I ended up doing all sorts of stuff for them. But I didn't race when I was with them. I went to my very first time at the track was going to Mosport in Canada with the team, Dave Roper, Eric Green, and I helped out in the pits. And I have to say I had no idea what it was about until I watched Dave and Eric go by me at about 130 on their AJS 7Rs, and I suddenly said, "Oh yeah, I get this." Um, and but again, I never raced. I don't consider myself a terribly competitive person. I enjoy going fast. I enjoy riding motorcycles. I can more or less care if I'm ahead of somebody or behind somebody. Now that changes once you start racing and you get on the racetrack and you pass your first person and suddenly you pass your second person and suddenly you want to kill everybody out there. But anyway, I was never really driven to the competition side of it. Long story short, after I left Team Obsolete and I moved back up here to Massachusetts, still hadn't been on the racetrack, was riding my vintage bikes around these beautiful hills, and started to get kind of bored. And I was like, I can either go faster or I can try something else. And chose to be wise and not try to go faster on the street. And about 2015, I went and got my racing license. Was going to try it out one day, see how it was. About halfway through my first lap, I said, "Yep, this is it. This is what I want to be doing." So I've been racing ever since then. Started out on a Yetman framed Honda 305, which I rode for several years until I decided that I wasn't fast enough. That's where this bike came in. Reality is I wasn't fast enough, but this bike makes up for a lot of my shortcomings on the track because it's got a huge horsepower advantage over that bike and two more gears, which all comes in super handy. Um, yeah, so that's my interest. I started off going kind of by myself. I mean, I obviously knew about the scene and I knew some people there from the New York days, but it was just me racing, and then Bailey came along one day, wanted to watch, and next thing you know, she was asking about a race bike, and we just happened to have a CB350 Honda that we'd picked up that was sitting in our basement, just waiting for some new life. And so we gave it to her, and she took it out, got it going, rode it enough till it blew up in an endurance race, and then she rebuilt the whole motor herself, and has been racing it ever since and doing quite well on it. Andy Townsend came along as a moped racer. He joined joined the team at Nova, and then had mentioned that he wanted to try this vintage racing stuff. So I thought I would show him a few things our first time out. He quickly lapped faster than me right out of the box. He's a very competitive and very skilled racer. And he stuck with it, and now he's gone racing for Mach 1 Racing, Pete Talabak, racing an old Vincent, among other things, and as well as keeping up with his 50cc passion, racing a very fast Aprilia 50cc against much bigger bikes. So for a while, it was the three of us going up racing, and then Andy's friend Vanessa was also part of that. And we started to kind of pick up some pieces. Sam got involved here. We have a rotating crew of people who are part of the team that love to help out. So they come up with us and make a weekend of it. We have our friends Zoe and Allie who started racing and even went so far as to buy a sidecar, which hasn't gotten finished yet, but they've been out there. They both had some really good times on the track, made some really good improvements, had some impressive speed. So it's sort of snowballs. You start doing something to see what it's like, and more people come along. Yeah, not to mention Isaac, who showed up out of the blue with a broken seat one day on this little 50cc race bike. cutest thing ever, and I don't think he's ever left since that day. We helped him with it, and he started coming around more and more, and we started pitting with him and racing with him, and then he started being a part of the team here and moved into the little house next door, and now he's racing my 305 Honda, actually, and doing quite well on it, as well as racing the communal 500cc race bike, Honda 504. Then he's going way too fast for somebody who races 50cc bikes. He's doing really great on that too, until he blew up the motor at a track day, but such is life. So yeah, that's sort of the nutshell of how it all began and how we got here. One of the reasons I really like doing it is it makes me a better mechanic. It's one thing to fix something and have it hang together for rides to the coffee shop on Sunday. It's another thing to put something together and watch it get destroyed by the brutality of the racetrack, and have to figure out how to fix it, make it better. You know, to build a motor that can stand up to race paces and race RPMs is a very different story. So things have to be good, things have to be tight, and you have to learn from mistakes and just keep getting better. So there's that, and then there's the rider in me that just likes to go fast. I like going into a corner and not worrying about dogs and deer and other cars and police officers and that kind of stuff, and just pitching it in and seeing how fast I can take the corner, seeing what happens on the other side. Yeah, it's a hoot, and I highly recommend Track Time for anybody, regardless if it's competitive or not. It really improves your sense of understanding of how the motorcycle works and what it can do for you. So, yeah, that's it for now. You know, as always, please like and subscribe and share anything you find interesting. We're growing a small YouTube channel, and everything helps to get the audience bigger. And make comments. Let us know if you have any questions. We're here.